The stars twinkled peacefully above Earth's first faster-than-light ship as it pushed beyond the solar system's boundaries. In the vast control room of the Galactic Council's monitoring station, red alerts suddenly flashed across every screen. The tall, gray-skinned aliens who called themselves the Dominion stood in shock as they processed the data. "Impossible," muttered High Commander Rex, his elongated fingers tapping rapidly on the control panel. These primitives couldn't have developed FTL technology so quickly. His subordinates nervously shuffled behind him, their four eyes blinking in rapid succession. The humans had done the unthinkable. They had cracked the code of faster-than-light travel decades before the Dominion's predictions suggested they would. This was not according to plan. Back on Earth, Captain James Walker stood proudly on the bridge of the experimental ship Defiant. His crew had just made history, but their celebration was cut short. The ship's communications officer jumped from his seat, his face pale. "Sir, we're picking up a transmission. It's not from Earth." The message that played through the ship's speakers was clear and threatening. "Primitive species of Earth, you have entered space without permission. Your rapid advancement poses a threat to galactic stability. Surrender your technology and submit to Dominion rule or face extinction. You have 48 hours to comply." In Washington, D.C., the United Earth Defense Council gathered in an emergency session. Military leaders from every major nation sat around a massive oak table, their faces illuminated by the holographic display of the alien message. General Roberts slammed his fist on the table. "We didn't fight our way to the stars to surrender to the first aliens we meet." His weathered face showed the determination that had helped him lead Earth's forces through countless conflicts. "But their technology must be centuries ahead of ours," Admiral Thompson countered, her gray hair neatly tied back. "We've only just achieved FTL capability." The room erupted in heated debate until Captain Walker stepped forward. He had been summoned directly from the Defiant after its historic flight. "With all due respect," he said, his voice cutting through the chaos, "we don't know anything about their actual capabilities. They're trying to frighten us into submission. That suggests they're either not as powerful as they claim, or they're not united in their decision to attack." The room fell silent as his words sank in. Walker continued, "The Defiant sensors picked up valuable data during our flight. Their ships are watching us, but they're keeping their distance. That's not the behavior of an overwhelming force." President Chen nodded slowly. "Captain Walker, what do you propose?" "Let me take the Defiant out again," Walker replied. "But this time, not as a test flight. We need to gather intelligence, understand what we're really facing. The aliens expect us to either surrender or wait passively for their attack. Let's show them that humans are full of surprises." The council members exchanged glances. They had faced countless challenges in unifying Earth's defenses, but this was different. This was humanity's first test among the stars. "Very well," the president declared. "Captain Walker, you have 12 hours to prepare your ship and crew. Admiral Thompson, begin mobilizing our orbital defenses. General Roberts, coordinate with all ground forces. If these aliens want to test us, they'll learn that humanity doesn't bow to threats." As the meeting adjourned, Walker looked out the window at the night sky. Somewhere up there, ancient aliens were preparing to teach humanity a lesson. Little did they know, humans had always been excellent students, and even better at turning lessons back on their teachers. The next day, as the Defiant prepared for launch, the Dominion's scout ships watched from hiding. High Commander Rex felt confident in his species' superiority. After all, his civilization had ruled the stars for millennia. How much trouble could one young species cause? He was about to find out exactly how wrong his assumptions were. High Commander Rex watched his scout ships move into position around Earth. His plans were perfect, or so he thought. The massive alien vessels cloaked themselves using advanced technology, becoming invisible to what they believed were primitive human detection systems. But they were wrong. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a secret underwater base, Major Anna Smith stared at her radar screen with growing interest. The aliens weren't as invisible as they thought. Their ships created tiny ripples in the ocean's magnetic field, something they had never considered a primitive species would notice. "They think we can't see them," she said to her team, a small smile forming on her face. "And that's exactly what we want them to think." Above the Earth, the Dominion scouts continued their assessment. They recorded Earth's visible military bases, the handful of space stations, and the few armed satellites. Their four-eyed faces showed clear disappointment at what they saw. "These humans are even more primitive than we thought," one scout commander reported to Rex. "Their weapons are based on simple explosives and projectiles. Their ships still use basic rocket fuel. Victory will be simple." But as they watched, they missed something crucial. They didn't notice how Earth's forces were already adapting. They didn't see the submarines deep underwater, tracking their every move. They didn't realize that every piece of information they gathered was carefully selected to be seen. Captain Walker's ship, the Defiant, drifted quietly on the dark side of the moon. His crew worked silently, their instruments collecting data about the alien ships. "Look at their shield patterns," Walker said, pointing to a display. "They pulse every 3.2 seconds. That's a weakness." Major Smith's discovery about the magnetic disturbances reached Walker's ship. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "you need to see this. The underwater bases have found a way to track them." Walker smiled. "Send this to all Earth Defense commands immediately. And get me Major Smith on the line." In their hidden positions, the alien scouts continued their observations, completely unaware they were being studied just as carefully as they were studying Earth. They watched human television broadcasts, intercepted radio signals, and analyzed internet traffic. Everything they saw convinced them that humans were a disorganized, entertainment-obsessed species that would be easy to defeat. Then something unexpected happened. One of the scout ships detected an energy surge from Earth. Before they could react, a seemingly primitive missile launched from an underwater base. The aliens didn't even bother to raise their shields. Their scans showed it was just a simple nuclear weapon, far too weak to damage their advanced hulls. But this missile was different. As it approached, it suddenly split into 12 smaller projectiles. Each one was targeted at the exact moment when different scout ships' shields would pulse. Major Smith's discovery had been put to immediate use. The aliens barely had time to register their surprise when the missiles struck. They didn't cause any serious damage, but they did something far more valuable. They proved that Earth could hit what wasn't supposed to be visible. In the Dominion's command center, High Commander Rex received the report with disbelief. "Impossible. How did they detect our ships? How did they know about the shield pulses?" Meanwhile, in the underwater base, Major Smith and her team celebrated their small victory. "The test worked perfectly," she reported to the Earth Defense Council. "Their shields are advanced, but they're predictable. And predictable means beatable." Captain Walker added the new data to his growing collection of alien weaknesses. "They're overconfident," he told his crew. "They think because they're more advanced, they don't need to be careful. That's going to be their biggest mistake." As Earth's forces began adapting their weapons based on the new information, the Dominion scouts continued their assessment, still believing they were in complete control of the situation. They had no idea that their every move was revealing more secrets, more weaknesses, more opportunities. The real test was about to begin, and humanity was more than ready. The Dominion attack fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. 500 warships, each the size of a small city, filled Earth's skies. High Commander Rex stood proudly on his bridge, ready to teach these primitives their place in the galaxy. "Begin the attack," he ordered. "Show these humans what real power looks like." But Earth was ready. They had spent every minute since first contact preparing for this moment. Deep underwater, Major Smith watched as the alien ships positioned themselves. "They're forming exactly the pattern we predicted," she reported to Earth Defense Command. "They really don't think we can hurt them." Captain Walker's voice crackled over the secure channel. All ships in position, waiting for your signal. The aliens struck first. Brilliant beams of energy lanced down from their ships, targeting Earth's visible military bases. Their sensors showed successful hits, and their crews celebrated early victory. But something was wrong. There was no panic, no chaos, no desperate calls for surrender. Instead, Earth's response began with silence. From the depths of every ocean, submarines that the aliens had dismissed as primitive launched their attacks. Not with simple torpedoes, but with weapons specifically designed to exploit the pulse rate of alien shields. The ocean itself helped hide the approaching missiles until it was too late. Impossible. Rex shouted as the first wave of submarines took down 3 of his largest ships. Their weapons are too primitive to harm us. But that was just the beginning. Captain Walker led a fleet of ships that had been hiding in the asteroid belt. They were old space shuttles and satellites that the aliens had ignored, now modified with reverse-engineered technology. They struck from behind while the Dominion fleet was distracted by the submarine attack. The space around Earth erupted in chaos. Alien ships found their shield systems failing in patterns they couldn't understand. Their sophisticated targeting computers were blinded by simple electromagnetic pulses that shouldn't have affected them. How are they doing this? Rex demanded as another ship fell. These are primitives. On Earth's surface, Major Smith coordinated the ground response. Launch the decoys, she ordered. Thousands of small drones filled the sky, each broadcasting signals that mimicked Earth's military bases. The alien fleet wasted their fire on empty targets, while the real bases remained safe underground. Walker's voice filled the command channel. They're breaking formation. They don't know how to handle an enemy that fights differently. His ship, the Defiant, led a daring charge straight through the alien fleet's lines, causing chaos in their carefully planned formations. The Dominion had expected Earth to fight according to galactic standard warfare. They weren't prepared for a species that combined old and new technology in ways no one had tried before. Submarines from World War II, upgraded with modern technology and alien-inspired weapons. Space shuttles that looked primitive but carried advanced weapons. Simple tactics that confused complex alien computers. As the battle entered its 6th hour, the aliens had lost 30 ships without destroying a single real military target. Their perfect formation was in shambles, their confidence shattered. High Commander Rex faced a decision he had never expected to make. All ships, retreat, he ordered, his voice heavy with disbelief. Retreat immediately. The massive alien fleet fled in disorder, leaving behind their damaged ships and their wounded pride. For the first time in 300 years, the Dominion had lost a battle. In the underwater command center, Major Smith allowed herself a small smile. Phase 1 complete, she reported. The enemy fleet is retreating. Captain Walker's ship docked with the secret space station hidden on the moon's dark side. They'll be back, he said to his crew. But next time, we'll be even more ready. In the Galactic Council's chambers, news of the Dominion's defeat spread quickly. Species that had feared the Dominion for centuries watched with growing interest. The primitives from Earth had done the impossible. They had proved that being advanced didn't mean being invincible, and being primitive didn't mean being powerless. The real war was just beginning. 2 weeks after Earth's surprising victory, Captain Walker stood before the Earth Defense Council. The holographic displays showed their first captured alien ship, now hidden in an underground base in the mountains. Operation Lightning Strike is ready, Walker announced. We've learned enough about their technology to strike back. The council members looked at the detailed plans before them. It was ambitious, perhaps even crazy, but that's what made it perfect. The aliens would never expect it. Major Smith stepped forward, pointing to the alien ship's engine design. Their technology isn't as advanced as they made us believe, she explained. It's just different, and we figured out how to copy it. In space, the Dominion was still recovering from their shocking defeat. High Commander Rex faced angry questions from the Galactic Council. How could you lose to primitives? They demanded. Find them, crush them. But Rex had lost his confidence. Every report about Earth forces showed them getting stronger, not weaker. They were learning, adapting, evolving their tactics daily. Then Earth launched its counterattack. The first sign was when 3 Dominion supply ships vanished without a trace. Then a small patrol fleet went silent. The aliens couldn't understand how humans had reached so far into space so quickly. The answer appeared when Walker's ship, the Defiant, led a strike force out of nowhere. They had copied the aliens' own cloaking technology, but added a human twist. The ships could now hide in plain sight, matching background radiation perfectly. Multiple ships detected. A Dominion officer shouted as Walker's fleet appeared behind their defense line. "They're using our own cloaking technology." But that wasn't the only surprise. Each Earth ship now carried weapons reverse-engineered from the captured alien vessel. The humans hadn't just copied the designs, they had improved them. Impossible. Rex watched as the humans bypassed defensive shields that had protected Dominion ships for centuries. How are they learning so fast? Major Smith's voice crackled through the communication channels of the Earth fleet. "Remember your training. Hit and fade, just like we practiced. Don't let them predict our patterns." The Earth ship struck like lightning, appearing and disappearing before the aliens could respond. They targeted supply lines, communication relays, and sensor stations. The Dominion's mighty empire began to show its first cracks. Walker's ship led a particularly daring raid deep into alien territory. They captured a small space station, giving Earth its first foothold beyond the solar system. "Begin installation of the new defense systems," he ordered as his crew secured the station. "This is our first step into the galaxy." The Dominions scrambled to respond, but their rigid military doctrine couldn't handle Earth's fluid tactics. Every time they developed a defense against one human strategy, Earth forces would switch to something completely different. Back on Earth, engineers worked day and night, combining alien technology with human innovation. Major Smith oversaw the installation of new weapons on submarines and ships that had been considered obsolete just months ago. "The aliens think in straight lines," she told her team. "They expect enemies to follow rules of warfare that haven't changed in centuries. But humans, we think in circles, curves, and zigzags." In the captured space station, now named Hope Point, Walker received reports of more victories. Earth ships had successfully disrupted alien supply lines across 3 star systems. The Dominion's grip on nearby space was weakening. "They're starting to fear us," his second-in-command noted. Walker shook his head. "Fear isn't our goal. Respect is. We're showing them that being different doesn't mean being inferior." As the counterattack continued, other alien species watched with growing interest. The Dominion had ruled through fear and claims of superiority. Now a young species was proving that age and technology weren't everything. The balance of power was shifting, one surprising victory at a time. Major Smith stood in her laboratory, surrounded by holographic displays of her latest invention. After months of studying alien shield technology, she had discovered something revolutionary. "The shields don't just block attacks," she explained to the gathered military leaders. "They channel energy. And if we can redirect that energy," she pressed a button, and a small device hummed to life. "We can make their own shields work against them." Captain Walker, watching from a video feed from Hope Point Station, leaned forward with interest. "A shield breaker weapon." "Better," Smith replied. "A shield reverser. It turns their defensive energy into an offensive burst. The stronger their shields, the more powerful the backfire." In deep space, the Dominion was facing its own crisis. High Commander Rex received reports of more lost battles, more failed strategies. But worse than that, other alien species were beginning to rebel. "The humans are inspiring others," his advisor reported fearfully. 3 slave species have already risen up against us. They say if humans can fight back, so can they. Rex slammed his 4-fingered hand on his command console. "Then we will crush them all at once. Gather the Grand Fleet. Every ship we have. But the Dominion had already made too many mistakes. Their supply lines were in chaos thanks to Walker's raids. Their commanders were afraid to make decisions, fearing human surprise attacks. Their once mighty empire was showing deep cracks. At Hope Point Station, Walker coordinated with Earth's new allies. The rebel aliens brought their own knowledge of Dominion weaknesses, their own reasons to fight. Together, Walker told them, "We're stronger than they ever expected." Major Smith's shield reverser weapons were quickly installed on Earth's ships. The first test came when a Dominion battle group attacked Hope Point Station. "Activate the reverser," Walker ordered as the alien ships powered up their strongest shields. The result was spectacular. The Dominion ships' own shield energy turned back on them, creating explosive feedback loops that crippled their largest vessels. The mighty alien fleet retreated in disarray, leaving behind more captured ships for Earth to study. News spread quickly through the galaxy. The unbeatable Dominion shield had been turned into a weakness. Species that had suffered under alien rule for generations began to see hope. "We want to join your alliance," messages poured in from across the stars. "Teach us how to fight back." Major Smith worked tirelessly, teaching other species how to build shield reversers. "The technology isn't complicated," she explained to a group of alien engineers. The Dominion just never thought anyone would try something so different. On Earth, the Defense Council received reports of more victories. The Dominion was losing control of entire sectors of space. Their feared Grand Fleet was scattered, afraid to use their strongest weapons in case they were turned against them. "We never wanted to rule the galaxy," Walker told his alien allies during a strategy meeting. "We just wanted to be free. And now we can help you be free too." In the Galactic Council chambers, panic spread. The Dominion's representatives faced angry questions from other powerful species. How had they let this happen? How had they been so wrong about humanity? High Commander Rex made his final mistake. He ordered all remaining ships to attack Earth directly, thinking he could still crush the source of his problems. "We will show everyone what happens to those who defy us." But as his fleet gathered for the attack, he received a shocking message. 3 of his most important base worlds had fallen, not to humans, but to their own slave species, using tactics they had learned from Earth. The mighty Dominion was facing defeat not just from one primitive species, but from a galaxy that had learned to fight back. Major Smith and Captain Walker watched from Hope Point as more allies arrived every day. The revolution they had started was spreading faster than anyone had expected. The war wasn't over, but its outcome was no longer in doubt. Humanity had changed the galaxy forever. The combined fleet of Earth and its alien allies filled the space around Hope Point Station. Ships of all sizes and designs gathered for what everyone hoped would be the final battle. Captain Walker stood on the Defiance Bridge, looking at the massive armada. 10 years ago, we were afraid of aliens, he said to his crew. Now we're leading them into battle. Major Smith's voice came through the command channel. All ships are equipped with the latest shield reverser technology. The Dominion won't know what hit them. The plan was bold but simple. While the Dominion gathered its remaining forces to defend its core worlds, the Alliance would strike from multiple directions. Earth ships would lead the main assault, while their alien allies would attack from behind enemy lines. High Commander Rex paced in his fortress on the Dominion homeworld. "How many ships have joined the humans?" he demanded. "Too many to count," his advisor replied nervously. "Species we enslaved for centuries are rising up everywhere. They're using Earth tactics, Earth technology. Some are even using their old weapons in new ways, just like the humans taught them." The attack began at dawn, Earth time. Walker's fleet jumped into the heart of Dominion space, appearing right in front of their largest military base. But instead of firing, the Earth ships broadcast a message to every Dominion world. "Surrender now, and you will be treated fairly. Resist, and you will fall like every other tyrant in history." The response was immediate. The Dominion launched everything they had left. Thousands of ships filled the space between the stars. Their weapons charged, their shields raised to maximum power. That's exactly what the Alliance was waiting for. Now, Walker commanded. The shield reversers activated simultaneously. Across the battlefield, Dominion ships found their own energy turning against them. Their mighty shields, once their greatest strength, became their weakness. But the Dominion didn't just fall to superior technology. They fell to superior tactics. Former slave species, who knew every secret path through Dominion space, struck at supply lines and communication centers. Earth submarines, now modified for space combat, slipped through debris fields to attack from unexpected angles. Old freight ships, converted into carriers, launched swarms of small fighters that confused the Dominion's targeting systems. "They're breaking formation," Major Smith reported from her command post, just like the first battle at Earth. The Dominion's rigid military structure crumbled under the chaos of fighting dozens of different tactics at once. Each allied species brought its own way of fighting, its own innovations, all coordinated by Earth's battle plan. On his flagship, High Commander Rex watched his empire collapse. How? He wondered aloud. How did one primitive species change everything? The answer came from his own troops as they began surrendering in massive numbers. "We're tired of fighting for an empire that calls everyone else primitive," they said. The humans proved that different doesn't mean inferior. Walker's ship led the final push toward the Dominion capital. The once mighty fortress walls fell not to brute force, but to clever tactics and coordinated strikes from a dozen different species working together. As the last Dominion stronghold surrendered, cheers erupted across thousands of ships in dozens of languages. The galaxy's greatest empire had fallen to what they had dismissed as primitives. In the aftermath, Major Smith walked through the captured Dominion Command Center. They had all this technology, she mused, but they forgot the most important thing. "What's that?" asked a young alien ally. "That true strength comes from adapting, learning, and working together, not from thinking you're superior to everyone else." The news spread across the galaxy. The Dominion had fallen, but more importantly, a new kind of alliance had risen, one built on respect and cooperation rather than fear and domination. As the dust settled, Captain Walker looked out at the stars from his ship's viewport. The galaxy was changing, and humanity had led the way. Not through conquest, but by teaching others to believe in themselves. The age of empire was over. The age of cooperation had begun. 1 year after the Dominion's fall, Earth hosted the first Galactic Unity Conference. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered in the newly built Space Unity Tower in Geneva. The massive structure, built with combined technology from 20 different worlds, stretched up into the clouds. Captain Walker, now Admiral Walker, stood at the podium addressing the gathered delegates. "A year ago, we fought together for freedom. Today, we build together for peace." In orbit above Earth, Major Smith, recently promoted to commander, supervised the construction of the new Galactic Defense Academy. Ships from former Dominion worlds arrived daily, bringing students eager to learn the combat innovations that had changed the galaxy. "Remember," she told her first class of mixed-species cadets, "technology is just a tool. It's how you think that matters." The Galactic Council had undergone massive changes. The old chamber where the Dominion once ruled was transformed into a circular hall where all species had equal voices. Former slave races sat alongside their old masters, all working together to build something new. Humanity's greatest gift wasn't defeating the Dominion, a former rebel leader told the Council. It was showing us that anyone can rise above their limitations. Earth's influence spread far beyond military matters. Human creativity, combined with alien technology, led to amazing breakthroughs. Ships that could hide underwater and then soar through space. Weapons that turned defense into offense. Medicine that combined Earth's biological knowledge with advanced alien science. But more importantly, Earth taught the galaxy to think differently. In the ruins of the Dominion's capital, archaeologists from 12 species worked together. They discovered that the Dominion had once been peaceful explorers, before power and pride corrupted them. "We won't make the same mistake," Admiral Walker promised during the opening of the new Galactic Peace Center. "Power shouldn't be used to control others, but to lift everyone up." Commander Smith's innovations continued to surprise everyone. She worked with alien scientists to develop new technologies that combined the best ideas from multiple worlds. The shield reverser that had helped win the war was adapted into a power generator that provided clean energy to countless planets. The Dominion kept species separate, thinking it made them stronger, she explained to a group of young inventors. "But look what we can achieve when we work together." The former Dominion species, freed from their own empire's rigid rules, discovered new talents. Their knowledge of advanced technology, combined with fresh ideas from other races, led to incredible developments. Space travel became faster, safer, and available to all. On Earth, humans remained humble despite their central role in reshaping the galaxy. Cities now hosted aliens from thousands of worlds. Children grew up learning languages from across the stars. The fear of the unknown that had gripped humanity during first contact was replaced by curiosity and friendship. 10 years after the war, Admiral Walker and Commander Smith stood on Hope Point Station, watching ships from across the galaxy pass through the busy space lanes. The station had grown into a massive hub of trade and cultural exchange. "Did you ever think," Smith asked, "when we first detected those alien ships, that it would end like this?" Walker smiled, watching as a group of former Dominion children played with human and alien friends in the station's zero-gravity park. "I hoped we would survive," he said. "I never dreamed we would thrive." The galaxy had learned its lesson. The Dominion's fall showed that no empire built on fear could last forever. But humanity's rise showed something more important, that the future belonged to those who could adapt, innovate, and work together. As night fell on Earth, the Space Unity Tower lit up like a beacon visible from orbit. It stood as a reminder of how far humanity had come, and how much further they could go with their new allies among the stars. The age of fear was over. The future was bright with possibility. And somewhere out there, new adventures waited for a species that had proved that being different didn't mean being primitive. It meant being special.